quickly, and it takes a little time for you to settle into that deeper place. So I think practicing just a nice general asana practice to loosen up the body and quiet the mind, get you into the breath, is a beautiful way to enter into the restoratives. So when we get to the restorative practices, if you have a favorite, this is the joy of doing yoga all by yourself, right? So if you have a favorite pose and I don't offer it, like, make a different choice. So you guys are all experienced yogis, you know how this all rolls. So if you need a moment to go grab extra props, if you're like, oh, I have a bolster somewhere around here, or an eye pillow or something somewhere around here, now's a good time to go grab it so that you have some extra support, some blankets, pillows, whatever you need for a couple of restorative practices toward the end of class. All right, so let's go ahead and sit up straight and tall and take a moment to acknowledge the stress that you've been carrying. So whatever that is for you, whether your stress has been around the election, concerns about anything in regard to that, whether it's your concerns about the state of our democracy, or all the social unrest, or the kind of digging in the dirt and uprooting a lot of problems that our society is facing, or if it's just the way the virus and the pandemic has affected you and your loved ones. Perhaps it's the economy or the state of the environment, or just the changing season of moving into cold and dark. So whatever has been kind of weighing on you, let's see what it feels like to just be in this moment. So close the eyes, rest through whatever it is that you can find. Find a soft spot in your body right now. So maybe it can be something in your face. Usually our face is easily accessible to consciously let go, but perhaps it's somewhere else for you. So find a spot and then see if that can be your little epicenter, like the drop of the pebble in the pond, and let the ripples expand away from that place so that you're allowing softness to expand. See what it feels like to settle weight into your sit bones, feeling your pelvis ground a bit. What would it feel like to imagine that your diaphragm can reach all the way to the pelvic floor? And even though it doesn't, there is a deep connection through the diaphragm and the pelvis. So let's just take a moment to loosen any binding you have around your diaphragm. Come into some belly breaths. Let your belly fall. Let it relax. Let it rise. Let it move. Try to unbind yourself from any restrictions, whether they're physical or emotional, that tend to consciously or unconsciously bind our bellies. And then soften even deeper down into the pelvis. Can you imagine that your pelvis becomes the ocean, that you're just this giant wave of breath? There's so much room for the pelvis to move with your breathing. And does this change the grounded feeling? Do you have a greater sense that you are connected to the earth? Allow yourself to expand at the same time as dropping. So the rooting, the yielding, the rising. Can your chest be expansive in all directions instead of just a push of the chest forward to open the heart? What would it feel like to let your arm bones be a little free and let the upper arm bones kind of bobble on the breath a bit? Go back to your face one more time and rest what you can. The skull is soft. The base of the skull is soft. All All right, and let's place your palms together at your heart. Bow in a bit. So lift the heart just a bit, not enough where you compress the back body, but open yourself up and bow into that space. Acknowledge any stress or tension you've been holding. Instead of just, oh, it's no big deal, or I got this, or it's all going to be fine. Instead of kind of pushing it quickly aside, just have a moment of acknowledging your resiliency, your strength, your fortitude, and also that sense of vulnerability, openness, a deep respect for the need for rest and rejuvenation. Let's release the hands and come onto our back. And so as you lie down, as always, take a moment to enjoy the feeling of what it feels like to lie down. Sometimes I think of it like water in a glass, and then you just spill the water on the floor and everything spreads out instead of being upright. So just allow your joints to experience that spread out water feeling. Take a deep breath. Melt your body. All right, and then let's stretch. Stretch your arms overhead. Lengthen the right side, lengthen the left side. Just come into some squeezing of your muscles if that feels nice to your body. And then bring your knees into the chest and rock around a little bit. So swaying from side to side. How's your exhales? So remember, if we're resetting our nervous system today with a few restoratives, go ahead and start circling your knees. One of the easy little ways to allow your restoration of your parasympathetic nervous system is to lengthen your exhales. Let's circle the other way. So our breath is such a beautifully built-in system of balance. Every time we inhale, our sympathetic system revs up a bit. Every time we exhale, our parasympathetic revs up. Bring your right knee into your chest and roll around through your ankles. If you're not familiar, the sympathetic is your get up and go. It's your, it's your chutzpah. It's your ability to get through your day, do all the things on your to-do list. But it's also your stress response, your flight or fight or freeze or fake response. And then your parasympathetic response is that restful state, the end of the day, that, the job well done, I can let go, the softness. So when you feel overwhelmed, we want to make sure that the parasympathetic is getting its time in the sun. Bring your left knee in, keep rolling around through your ankles. One of the best things you can do for your parasympathetic system besides long exhales is to sleep well, to get as much sleep as your body needs. And of course, the restorative practices of yoga. All right, bring the knees back in. Let's pick up the head. Give a good squeeze. Squeeze all your air out. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Squeeze everything you can. Inhale, open up to a starfish. Spread out your limbs. And then exhale and knees into the chest. Give a good squeeze. One more time. Open things out. Exhale. Draw it in. Place your feet down onto the ground. Find your breath. Okay, and let's do some windshield wipers with the knees. Take the knees a little wider than your hips, and then just drop. Feel free as you go from side to side to move your head and your torso in opposition. So if you want to turn your head, there's lots of ways you can do this pose. Breathe deeply. Finding the breath. Let's go in one more time, knees into the chest. Let's open up our hips away from each other and back in. Just one more set of circles, but this time we're pulling the knees away and bringing them back together. And then roll over onto your side. and come up onto your hands and your knees. All right, let's start moving through some cat-cows. So arching the back, rounding the spine, taking your time to notice your vertebrae. Where do you want to breathe? Make sure you're breathing. Doesn't matter where the breath ends up, just keep it flowing. And then circle around, circle your hips, circle your shoulders, circle your head. Just find your way into whatever kind of movement is nice. Opening up the back of your body, opening up the sides of your body. All right, and then stretch back towards child's pose. Decide where you want your knees to be. So, sometimes we like our knees close, sometimes we like them far, sometimes arms overhead, sometimes arms down. Find your breath. Deep inhale, long exhale. If you can, bring your arms up over your head now and walk the hands over to the left side of the mat and open the right rib cage. Even these gentle warm-up stretches that we often, almost always do in the beginning of class can be very restorative by nature. So melt the eyes. Feel the inversion here. There's just a teeny bit of the head dropping. Let's come back to center. Walk the hands over to the other side. Feel the openness through the ribs on this left side. The base of the skull is soft and gentle. Deep inhale, long exhale. Start to train the body to stretch those exhales out. And let's come back up onto your hands and your knees. Find a twist, lift the right arm up in the air, slide that shoulder down, opening up to the side. Take the femur bones back, relax the head, find that epicenter, the stone that dropped into the water and rippled away. Where was that in your body? Find it again. Let everything expand into softness from that place. Inhale, reach that arm all the way up to the sky. Place the hand down onto the ground and change sides. Lift the left arm. Exhale and slide that shoulder down. Deepen your breath. Relax your neck. All right, and then inhale, reach the arm all the way back up again. Place the hand down onto the ground, dog pose. All right, so stretch things out. Enjoy this posture. Take your hands in a comfortable place. Take your feet where you want them to be. Move around any bits that you need to start welcoming into the sensations of the body. Can you enjoy what your calves feel like when you stretch your heels back and down? Have that stable place with your heels and then lift the sit bones. Lift the femur bones up into the hip joints and press them back. Soften the knees, soften the neck, soften the elbows. Feel the sense of reach of your hands into the floor as you rebound through the spine. Melt your face over and over. Let the jowls relax. The skin falls away from the bone. Long exhales. All right, let's step forward. Come into Uttanasana, fold. Bend your knees as much as you need to. Feel free to wag your tail around. Bend deeply through your knees so your back can feel spacious instead of wrapped up in its own roundedness. Melt the head, rest the shoulders. Feel the inversion. Let the eyes start to get heavy. How's your breath? Inhale for a halfway lift. You can hold your thighs or your blocks or your shins. Exhale and melt back down. Push off your feet, rise up, reaching the arms upward. Lift up your heart, open up your chest, open the chest with a cactus if it feels nice to do so. And then exhale and round in. Feel your shoulder blades move. One more time, opening the chest, hugging the shoulder blades toward each other. Drop the elbows down just a bit, and then come back to center. Interlace your fingers Press your palms straight up in the air. Take a deep breath. Over to the right you go. Feel the roots through your feet. Finding your breath. Interlace your fingers the other way and come up to the left. Stretch up, let your right side body open, root into the feet. Okay, and then open one more time, big old cactus chest, and then release. Roll the shoulders a few times here, up toward the shoulders, back and down, and then switch directions. Let your shoulders move. Take your feet hip width apart or maybe even a little bit wider, and we're just going to do some gentle swinging twists. Opening up the arms, let them be like pendulums that are just swinging. Okay, let the swing of your arms give something to the spine. You can keep your core a little bit active. Let your feet move. Enjoy the waking in your spinal column. Come back to center. Bring your hands onto your hips, and we're just going to do a big old circle with your pelvis now as well. So the feet are hip width apart, and we're just moving our hips in a big like hula hoop circle, and then go the other direction. All right. Reach the arms up, open up your breath, exhale, and fold in half. Lengthen the spine. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Blocks are nice if you want them. Step your right foot forward. Your left foot is back. Coming into a lunge, finding your breath here. Extending through the heart. Shoulders are away from the ears. Let's place the back knee down onto the ground. Let your toes curl under or lay flat, whichever feels best to you. Find your way up into a crescent lunge with your knee on the floor. If you don't like your arms overhead, make a different choice. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other. Fill up your breath, and let's take a gentle twist here. Forearm or elbow to the knee. Open up the spine. Lift the crown, drop the shoulders. Broaden across the collarbones. Start to invigorate the legs. Hug your front heel and back knee. Find the midline with your inner thighs. Where's your exhale now? And then exhale and release the hands to the floor. Back foot or back knee comes up off the ground. Straighten both your legs. Square the hips, bow the chin. Inhale, come forward into a lunge. Exhale and bow. Finding your way. So it doesn't matter how far deeply you go in either one, just find your way. Now we get to come up to a full crescent lunge. Reach, same leg. We're still on that right leg. Reach and open, extend. Maybe lean back a bit if it feels good to do so. Finding the breath. All right, and then exhale. Walk your back foot forward. Come into Uttanasana. Fold. Inhale for a halfway lift. Exhale and melt back down. Step your other foot back. Come to a lunge. Put your knee onto the floor so your left foot is forward. Your right knee is on the ground. Back there into a lunge. Decide how you want your feet to be. Do you want to curl your toes under or lay them flat? Try not to lean into the pelvis. Hug your front heel and back knee toward each other to help lift you. Extend your arms when you're ready. And remember, arms can go anywhere you want them to be. There's so many choices about positioning for your body. Stabilize by finding the midline. Use your legs. There's a lot of inner thigh work in a posture like this. Breathe deeply. And let's turn this into a twist. So elbow, forearm, whatever you want on that thigh. Use your other hand to push into the thigh to help you lift the spine. Still finding the inner thighs. Feel the extension of your spine. Let the shoulders drop back and down. Can you accentuate the breath? And then release the hands. Curl your back toe under into a full lunge now. Find your breath. Rise up. Put your arms anywhere you want them to be for crescent lunge. Okay, so you do you. Wherever you end up being is great. See what it feels like to open the chest, maybe a teeniest bit of thoracic back bend here. The neck is soft. The shoulder blades are sliding, the traps are loosening downward. Big belly breaths. Exhale, and begin to straighten and bend your front knee. So starting in the lunge, and then squaring the hips, bowing your head, straightening your leg, going back and forth a few times. Just feeling yourself get into the legs as best as you can. All right, let's put our hands down onto the ground, step back to a plank. Shoulders are away from the ears, feel the midline of the body stabilize. Breathe deeply. All right, and then as you're ready, let's come down to the ground with safety. Choose a back bend that's best for your body. Maybe it's cobra pose, maybe it's sphinx pose. Doesn't matter what pose you do, you. Let's try again. Try not to hold the breath. Stretch back up, all fours. This time when we come into child's pose, take your knees quite wide. Just start to get into the inner thighs and hips a little bit. Stretch back into child's pose. Breathe deeply. All the room you have for your belly, let your belly relax. See if you can melt the diaphragm here. All right, let's go ahead and bring our knees back in toward each other. Come up to stand and turn to the long edge of your mat. Okay. So you can hold something like a block between your hands if you want to for this. We're just going to go around the world, kind of opening up our hips and legs, giving some juice, some energy. So let's go ahead and bend into one knee. We're going to cross over to the other side and rise up. Now, if your knees are a little unhappy, just go little bits. You know, you can be kind of in this plane right here. You don't have to go into this really deep plane, and you very much can. So find whatever movement is working for you. Use your full body. Pushing off one leg, rising up, squatting down, weight into one foot, cross it over. Use all your leg muscles, use your core. Find this being a very full body experience. All right, let's do that one. Come around one last time. I have no idea how many times we've done that. Pause at the top. Starfish your body. Just enjoy the spaciousness. Take a deep breath here. Now, as we're ready, we're going to go the other way. Okay. And maybe you have a preference. Maybe your body prefers spinning in one direction. Try not to use your back instead of your legs. Use your core. Use your legs. Squat. Use your glutes. There's so many strong muscles. Try to rely on them instead of the spine to do this rotational work. Big squats. Push off your feet. Is there a yielding to be had? Are you breathing? All right, now I want you to stop at the bottom. Next time you get to the bottom, keep your feet turned out, drop your hips down, let your spine rest. Deep squat. And then heel toe your feet straight. So lift up your sit bones and come into Pasrita. Lift the shoulders away from the ears. How's your exhales here? All right, let's go ahead and come on up and out of the pose. Turn your feet out, staying in your squat. Find your breath and just come into a goddess pose. Spin your feet, your jarlets, your toes turn out, your heels turn in, your chest is rising. Remember, you can be high, you can be low, you can be anywhere your body is comfortable. Now, open your heart. Open your heart. Try to be expansive in your heart instead of just pushing your chest forward. Put your arms anywhere you want them. Maybe you want them up overhead. Maybe you want them out. Find your breath. Feel your feet. Engage your feet. Turn the toes. Great, and then rise all the way up. Spin back to the front of your mat. Forward dog pose. Extending through the spine, deepening the breath in, filling the breath all the way, and then letting it go all the way. Walk your feet forward. Come into Uttanasana. Let's rise all the way up, bringing the arms to the sky if it's comfortable, and then place the hands at your heart for a moment. Find your breath. Is there any part of your body that you haven't had a look in yet? Have you seen everywhere? Have you felt everywhere? Deep breathing. Feel that bottomless breath. All right, so I'm just going to stretch the neck just a little bit. So reach the hands down. We're going to grab onto the right wrist with the left hand behind you. Have just a little bit of a tug, and then we're going to lift the right ear up toward the sky. Stretch across the top of your shoulder, some of these muscles, and you can move your chin around. Just find your sweet spots. Some of these muscles are accessory muscles of breathing that we tend to grip up when we're stressed. So let's open some of them up. All right, and then change sides. Grab onto the other wrist. Lift that left ear. Broaden across the collarbones. Feel free to move your neck around a little bit. You can lift your chin and drop it. Anything that feels nice. A little gentle tug. We're not trying to take our shoulders offline. All right, great. And then come back to center. Shrug your shoulders up hard. Deep breath, squeeze for a moment. And then let that go. All right, so shake it off. Shake out your wrists. Let's roll the wrists a few times. And then this next stretch for our shoulders and arms and neck. Press your palms straight out to imaginary walls. Find the shoulders dropping down and lift the crown. Yield the feet. Stabilize through your core. We're going to lift our right ear up in the air, drop the left, and then switch. So just kind of bobbing your head back and forth. Open up your chest. Shoulder blades are down. The collarbones are broad. Flex your hands as best as you can, as if you had them against walls. Try not to get lazy and lose the flex of your hands. All right, and then release your head back to neutral and just roll your wrists a few times. One direction, roll them another direction, and then relax. Inhale, one last pass through vinyasa. Exhale, fold forward, come into Uttanasana. Halfway lift. Extending the spine, exhale and melt. Step the left foot back, come into a lunge. Find your breath, we're gonna twist here. Inhale, reach the arm up in the air. Breathe deeply, so we're twisting to the right. Shoulder blades are away from the ears. Exhale and release the hand down. Rise up, crescent lunge. Open the heart, feel what's here. Breathing deeply. Find the shoulders where you want them. Exhale and release the hands toward the floor. Step back to a plank. Find that deep stability. Deep breath in and away. Let's lower ourselves down. Maybe up dog, maybe cobra, maybe locust pose, maybe Superman pose. Whatever is working for you. And release and melt. Come back up onto all fours. Find a moment to swirl your body around. Neutralize and breathe. And then let's plant our left foot forward into a lunge. Lift your back knee off the floor. Place your right hand down onto the ground. Inhale and lift your left arm up to the sky. The shoulders move away from the ears. Deep breaths here. And then let's relax the hand back down to the earth. Rise up to crescent lunge. Arms go where arms want to be, so don't overtax anything. Find this pose to be strengthening, supportive, spacious. How is your breath? right, and release the hands. Lift that leg all the way in the air. Three-legged dog with this leg up. Place your foot down onto the ground. Dog pose. Bend your knees. And then come down onto your ground and come into child's pose. However you like to be in child's pose. Breathe fully. All right, when you come up, if you have a couple of blankets to stack long fold like this, that would be great. If you have a bolster, that's even better. Okay, we're gonna stack the bolster next to us on our left side, and we're gonna stretch your left leg out in front of you and tuck your right foot in half Virasana. So your heel is next to your, next to your hip. And we're not gonna stay like this, so don't worry if this is not so good for your knee. We're gonna twist and turn toward your bolster that you just made with pillows or blankets and come down and rest in this twist. Finding the breath. Now for me, I feel this in my glute and in my IT band, but for some people, they don't feel it there. They feel it more just in the twisting of their torso. So just see what's in your body right now, and maybe nothing. This pose can be pretty gentle for a lot of people. So it doesn't matter, even if you're not feeling a deep stretch anywhere, melt your body. You can turn your head either way, finding your breathing. What can you do to soften the shoulders? Now we get to unramp. We kind of moved through a lot of asana. Now we get to drop in. So let your sense of being present with your body be a gift to you right now so that you can learn to rest the body that you're aware of. All the places that you're aware of, that you've just heightened your awareness of, let whatever you can go. All right, when you're ready, we're going to come on up. Push off your hands and go to the other side. So we're going to pick up your bolster or blankets and put them straight out, perpendicular from your right hip. Tuck your left foot next to your left hip in half Virasana, and then use your hands to help you twist, twist, twist. Your left hip is going to lift up off the floor. Your sit bones are going to lift up off the floor. Come into a twist. Put your head either way, whatever is comfortable for your head. Try to let your torso twist as much as you can before you come down onto the blankets. Readjust anything that you need to. And once you get to a place of comfort, regardless of where you're feeling the pose, can you melt? Can you soften the torso? Can you rest the shoulders? Can you feel your eyes begin to soften? When you're ready, let's go ahead and come back up and out of that posture. Okay, so come on to your seat for a moment. Come sit on something kind of high, whatever it is that you need. And just sit up straight and tall. Let's one more time find the bottomless breath. So if you're on the floor without support underneath you, this is very difficult way to sit. Even if you have a very strong back and very flexible hips, it's not as supportive and nurturing to the body as if you were up on something. So getting your sit bones higher will give your lumbar curve a nice, easeful state. Just enjoy and let your breath fill up. We're going to do Supta Konasana next, pretty much lots of people's favorite pose. So as we prepare, see what it feels like to get in touch with your diaphragm, your belly, and your pelvis. Once again, like in the beginning of class, what can you do to unwind tension here? What are you holding? Deep inhales, extra long exhales. You can even find that little pause at the bottom of the exhale before you take your next breath. So when you complete your next exhale, open your eyes and let's begin to set up for Supta Baddha Konasana. So if you're not sure what this pose is, there are so many different ways to do it. If you have some blankets, you can use some blankets. You can put a block underneath one blanket for your head. You can put heart bench blocks, so one block low, one block middle height with a blanket on top, okay? You can use a blanket or two underneath your knees. If you only have one blanket, you can open it up and roll it like a snake so that when we come into the posture, you can take the snake over your, can you see my ankles, over your ankles and then tucked underneath your outer hips. So experiment with what you have. Grab your couch pillows, grab your bed pillows, grab your throw pillows, whatever you got, and see what you can do to support yourself so that when you come into the posture, your head is above your heart is above your pelvis. Your legs are supported, even if you're very flexible and open in your hips and your knees splay out easily, put support underneath them so that your body is being told the message that you are supported. This is part of the key of getting the restorative postures to feel restorative in your body, is to feel supported. The nervous system likes this a lot. The nervous system likes weighted blankets. The nervous system likes hugs. The nervous system likes pillows and support and coziness. So what can you do to melt your body? Check in with all of your limbs. Make sure they feel like they're not dangling or hanging. Make sure your joints feel supple and soft. And once you get into a position that you know is good for you, that you feel at ease and comfortable in, go ahead and find your breath. Let the shoulders melt. Feel the inhales. Melt your exhales. Is there anything in the way of you being able to relax your belly, to be able to relax the pelvis? Keep trying to melt all little nooks and crannies that you find. Scan your body. Notice if there's tension and do what you can to surrender. Deep belly breaths, long exhales. Surrender into support. All the way through your skull, relax. Don't forget about your face. All roll tension patterns go. So if you're feeling ready, and also the joy is you're in your house, you're all by yourself. So go ahead and do what you want. If you want to stay here for another half hour, stay here. But if you are ready to make a change, let's start with the breath. Let's bring our knees closer together. Roll over onto your side and take a moment to just relax here on your side. And then use your arms to lift yourself up and out of the pose. I'm going to offer the choice. I can't see you guys, and I promised that I wouldn't teach any inversions during online classes because I can't see you. But if you're very comfortable, if you're an experienced yogi and you're very comfortable with shoulder stand and halasana and you have the props to do it, now would be a good time to try that. And if you're not wanting to do that, and you know who you are, right? So then we're going to do the leg up the wall pose for those of you who are, so make a choice between shoulder stand and plow pose and leg up the wall pose. I'm only going to cue leg up the wall pose because I don't want anyone doing shoulder stand and halasana unless you really are comfortable with it and feel safe and have the right props. Okay, so with leg up the wall pose, there's so many different ways you can go about doing this. I'm going to show the way with lots of props. I hope you can see the wall here. I'll try to go as far over to the side as you can. So 2 blocks like this. Then you have a gap there against the wall, and you have a gap between them for your butt to fit in between that gap. And you can have 1 blanket, you can have 2 blankets, you can have a bolster and a blanket. You can put it however high you want to go. I'm going to, just for the heck of it, put 2 blankets there. And I'm going to sit on the wall. So this is the trickiest bit. Now, if you want to do leg up the wall pose with no props, that's great. You can be flat on the ground. If you need a little blanket or something under your head, you can do that. If you want a little blanket under your pelvis and not work with the way I'm doing it here, that's so fine. So just do leg up the wall how you like it. And if you don't have a wall, you can use a piece of furniture, put your legs up against a couch, that kind of thing. Okay, so if you're going to do this variation, you sink down, roll over onto your, put your butt on the wall and then roll over onto your back. And we're going to scoot ourselves close to the wall
so you can get your butt down in the little hole that you created with the space between the blocks. This will put your pelvis into a little bit of an anterior tilt. Don't go super far in this, you just want a little bit, and this will help nourish the femur bones into the pelvis. So if we're looking for a relaxed pelvic bowl, this is a nice way to get it. So if you're comfortable, you can do this. Otherwise, any variation of leg up the wall pose that feels nice. Once you're there, you can take your feet into Baddha Konasana, like the pose we just did. You can crisscross your legs like you're sitting cross-legged. You can take your feet on the wall, knees bent, legs up the wall, legs straight, legs up the wall. If you have room to take your legs wide apart from each other like a V. All right, so choose. Sometimes I like to have a little pillow or a little something under my head. So if you feel the rush of blood being uncomfortable in your eyes from inverting, sometimes just having a little something underneath your head can make a difference in your comfort. So choose any way you want to get into this pose. It's purely choice. There's no better or, there's no way that's like, oh, that's better for your body. None of that. It's all just what feels good in your body. If you are in shoulder stand and halasana, be really mindful to be on the tops of your shoulders, to rest your neck and not push your neck into the floor. You want to have some big open breaths. And when you come into halasana, if you can't reach the floor, maybe you set yourself up so you can put your feet on your couch, or you can put your feet, you can bend your knees and kind of put them on your forehead. So whatever you're doing, come into the breath. Leg up the wall pose is a great pose to do when you've been on your feet all day. So if you've gone on a hike or you've just been on your feet for whatever reason, this is a great pose to reverse the flow. Pretty soon I'll teach another class about lymphatics. It's that time of year that we need to start focusing on our lymphatic system. So remember that this is such a great pose for your lymph vessels in your legs. Everything gets to move toward the heart with gravity helping instead of having to move against gravity. So notice if your feet are getting chilly, if you feel like your feet are a little lighter, if there's a change in the sensation of energy flow, blood flow, lymph flow. This pose is great because it doesn't have to be super formal. I do this pose a lot in my kitchen. If I'm tired, it's the end of the day, I'm talking to my kids, I oftentimes just lie down and put my legs up the cabinets and be like that. So it doesn't have to be a formal posture. If you've been on your feet with work or play throughout the day, it's a great way to bring that restorative balance at the end of your day. You can do this in your bedroom at night with your legs up your bed if you are, or lying on your bed with your legs up the wall. If you have trouble settling down into sleep, if your mind's racing, doing a couple of restorative practices before you go to sleep can be an excellent way of preparing the nervous system for rest. We're ready to come out of this posture. So remember, in class, we're cutting these short to just a few minutes, but when you're on your own, you can do these poses for as long as you'd like. Let's go ahead and roll over onto your side and use your arms to come on up. So this last few minutes of class before Shavasana I really want it to be a free choice moment for you. So you can do more restorative poses if you want, like a supported bridge pose over a block. Decide what your body is needing right now. Do you need some forward bending? Do you need some back bending? Do you need some twisting? Like what movement pattern do you think would restore you? And then find a restorative within that realm. Could be a supported reverse pigeon pose with your foot on the wall. It could be a bridge pose with a block under your pelvis. It could be a very supported child's pose. That's what I feel like doing right now. So remember that if you have props, you can put props underneath you for child's pose so that you are higher, using bolsters or blankets or blocks. If you want to do happy baby pose and just kind of hang out and draw the knees up and hold the feet and rock. Any posture can become restorative if you treat it as such. If you let the body melt, if you breathe well, if you give the cue to the nervous system that all is well. So hopefully I threw out enough ideas. If you have a different idea, take a different idea. Just find what's working for you. If you're choosing a posture that has two sides, go ahead and change to the other side. As you are ready, find your way into Shavasana. Perhaps your Shavasana is you're staying exactly where you are because you're so happy and comfortable. You can choose anything you want for Shavasana. If you have lots of props out, support underneath your knees, put your legs up on a couch, go back to one of the restorative poses you've already done. Find something different. Spread your body out on the floor, curl up into a ball on your side, lie on your belly. Anything that feels nice to you. As you allow yourself to melt, see what it feels like to let the belly breathe again. Can you feel that sense of surrender through your diaphragm? Are you able to let go all the way into the pelvic floor? Is your breath easy? Can you relax the exhales and let them be long, but without restraint or control? Just a nice breath out. Melt your limbs. Melt your face.
begin to deepen our breathing. Let's have some deep, deep gratitude for our health and well-being. Allow your practice to feed you. So as you breathe, notice what's changed in your mind, in your body, through moving, through paying attention, being present, breathing, resting. Come on to your side as you're ready. Take your time. Lots of big movements, small movements, whatever works for you. Use your arms. Help yourself so that you're not gripping your neck on the way up. And once you come to a seat, breathe here again. Find the steadiness of your inhales, the steadiness of your exhales. Notice the state that you're in. Are you relaxed? Is your nervous system online? Can you give yourself the little gifts of renewal throughout the day? Just a simple pause to exhale well and breathe in well. Ground your body. Place your palms together and offer an intention. Maybe send your love and care to someone who is experiencing some deep stress. You can give this healing practice. Just let it wash over you to wash over them. Namaste. Thank you, everyone. I hope you have a wonderful, relaxing, beautiful weekend.